simple, basic stuff that came out of a garden just around the corner.
Yeah, for sure.
You know, because it's been handled with integrity. It's been cooked to perfection. It's got a story. The people are connected to it. So when they deliver it, it's like the best thing they've ever seen in the world, and they're communicating this thing to you. And I guess that's the key thing for me, is to try and get that into our staff's mentality day in, day out.
Yeah.
And I mean, I'm very much a process person, you know, so talking before about, you know, having bad days in the kitchen, all the guests loving it, and me still feeling disappointed, is because I honestly feel if we don't do things in the way that we've agreed, it's not as good as it could be. So it doesn't matter what the final result looks like, because I'm obsessed with the process, you know.
And we talk about this a lot in leadership, but that when you got clarity of the process and you got clarity of what a good process looks like, you might also have a bad day of, you know, you might get some customers not enjoy it as much.
That's right.
But if the process was good and you know what the process looking good looks like, you're okay. Like, we did good today because we hit the process and the outcome, you know, regardless. And I think that's what I'm really passionate about, is people worrying more about the process than just worrying about outcomes, because they'll change.
That's right. And I mean, that's a really important thing that I've, I guess, come to over time in the restaurant. And, you know, I guess, look, early on when you run a restaurant for the first time and you're cooking for the first time with your name on the door, so to speak, and the reviews are getting written about you, you know, that's very personal. It's like, you did this, you didn't do that, you know. And of course you can't control every single thing, but you're the name.
Exactly. So
it does fall on you, you know. I guess it's like, I forgot I was going to say this, all right?
Well, I think it's, for me, it's like, you know, back to footy or sport.
Yeah.
You know, the team can win by 6 goals and play like shit.
Yeah.
And the coach can go, you know, if the coach is switched on, he'll know and go through. Actually, we didn't play where we wanted, where you could lose by 10 points against one of the top sides, but we hit the inside 50s. We won this amount of stoppage. The process was good. Yeah. We just didn't get the result. That's okay.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. It's like, you know, you go to an art gallery with your best mates or your family, and you agree on most things in life, and you go and look at a painting, and one hates it, one loves it, and one sort of doesn't care for it either way, you know. And food's a bit like that, you know. So even, you know, I'm quite confident that if we serve food to a customer, because of all the stages it's gone through, the process of, like, I guess, you know, tasting things and making sure the quality's absolutely 100% before it hits the table, if someone still doesn't like it and we've gone through those processes, it's opinion.
Yeah.
If we did it badly and they didn't like it, well, maybe they've got a point. And I guess it's about making sure that everything is sent out to the guest, and for us, every communication we have is done with the standard that we've set ourselves, with the way that we've agreed we're going to do it, and we're all comfortable with that. And then after that point, if there's an issue with someone's opinion, well, we put it down to opinion.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So and it takes a lot of courage to reach that point, I think. It takes a long time of being worried what people think. And of course I still am, because we work in a public spectrum, you know. We work in an area where every bloody time we put something on the table, someone's reviewing it, and it's like it's written up somewhere, whether it be a blog or, you know, or whatever.
Yeah, that's right, yeah.
You know, like whose opinion is the most important, whose voice is loudest, you know. And sometimes they are just loud voices. They're not necessarily voices that have much knowledge of what they're speaking about, you know. So it's always about going, okay, guys, this is how we do it, and if we do it like this and it leaves this position as that, we should all be okay with that. We should all be okay to take criticism, because we did the right thing that we set.
And in that, Danny, like you know, you get the ratings and all that stuff, and people constantly, you know, got their list of top restaurants. Yeah. Are you comfortable to go down 10 spots but stick to your vision, deliver it how you want, and be authentic to your plan and do that really well, and go down 10 spots as opposed to react to, we need to get up 10 spots and we need to change things? Yeah,
I mean, it's a tricky question really, because unfortunately 10 spots or whatever it is, it's all linked to financial return.
Yeah. So that's what,
you know, it's unfortunately, we get reviewed day in, day out, and as much as you'd hate to admit it, there's a financial implication sometimes of both positive and negative reviews. And thankfully, we've never received a negative one that sort of means anything. Like we certainly haven't received any negativity in any of the larger, more dependable press or lists. We've always, since we opened, been in a pretty good spot. But, I think like this year, for example, I mean, just domestically, Brae appeared on about 6 or 7 important, let's say, lists domestically this year.
Yep.
And internationally, probably about the same, And, if you're looking at putting lists that involve numbers, i.e. this is number 1 and this is number 50 or whatever, in Australia alone, as Brae was number 1 in one, number 5 in another, was the highest ranked restaurant in another in terms of the score out of 20, 19 out of 20.
Yeah.
But didn't win Restaurant of the Year.
Yeah.
So it's just like, who do you listen to?
Yeah.
And who's more important? And unfortunately, they're all probably important.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because they're all a direct, they have different, media's so split up now that everyone's got different readerships. Like people come to the restaurant and they don't even know about the other 3. They just know the one that they read, the list that they read, as if it's gospel.
Well, that's right. It's this number, and because I read it, that's the only one that matters, and that's what I'll judge it.
So, look, I'm comfortable to understand and know that what we do day in, day out at the standard that we do it at always sits us among the better restaurants.
Yeah.
So obviously we're not going to stop doing that.
For sure.
Personally, I always want to improve what we do, and that comes down to a mix of, do we feel like we improved, or was there some rating externally that confirmed that feeling for us, or did that rating at the end of the year say, oh, you didn't improve, although we did improve? I mean, it's just so tough to understand like what's the right way to feel in this. But I guess, again, one thing that's been key to what we do is always setting the standards from within and trying to achieve those things. So, I mean, this last 12 months was a really tough 12 months at Brae in terms of some key senior staff leaving after a long period of time.
Yeah.
Trying to re-establish, I guess, the highest management level, again, with existing staff, but also bringing new people into the business.
For
sure. Amongst all of that, the huge issues that you have trying to find senior key staff in Australia that have that, I guess, international experience and reference point to understand where we sit in the scheme of things. But also then to evolve your cuisine, to improve the farm, to deal with the dryness we've had and things like that,
Do you, Dan, with the recruiting, especially of chefs and things like that, do you look for just world-class straight away, or do you look for that potential younger one that you can come up and train? Like what's
a bit of both. Yeah. Like, it's amazing. I mean, when you've got a pretty independent and I guess, personal sort of culture that might not necessarily follow what others do.
Yeah.
You can get a resume that's like made out of gold dropped in front of you and it have got like all jewellery all hanging off it. You've got, you know what I mean? It's, like, it's been everywhere, you know, they've worked for the best and all this type of stuff, and they're just not the right people for you, like it's just like often those people are like I actually, unfortunately, I feel sorry for some people that have worked so hard. I sometimes get those resumes and just delete them because I just know they're not going to fit into who we are. And in that regard, although you need senior staff in your kitchen, it's about really finding the right type of personality often, not necessarily skill base, that can get inside your team and sort of slip in and help to develop it, And I mean, personality over skill. I mean, everyone who works in our kitchen has a skill base.
Yeah, for sure.
I mean, no one's coming in super green. It's the wrong place for you. You need to go out and get some training before you come and even approach us.
Yeah.
So at the end of it, it's down to who is this person and what sort of, personal skills do they have.
Yeah.
And I'm much more about that. I mean, I guess I'm very particular in terms of the way that we do things, and that's often personality, And if you don't have that eye for detail or that, I guess, self-awareness in the sense that you're always, benchmarking yourself against your own work yesterday, as an example.
Yeah.
It's just the wrong place, Like, you need to have some self-motivation.
Yeah, and I think, mate, and one thing, when I spoke to your wife, Jules, it's like you guys have sort of hit your benchmarks, and you're really on track for how you want to progress. Like, how do you reevaluate and then want to go forward and develop Brae? I gather, listening to you, it's not just about maintaining that standards, it's actually elevating.
Yeah. Yeah, it's tricky. We just had our 5th birthday, and probably it's, although we reflect all the time and I guess, but it was over 5 years ago we wrote a business plan, and actually went through that stuff properly. And it's probably not a bad time to sit down and do that again.
Okay.
And I mean, maybe it's not a business plan, but certainly a plan of who we are and where we want to be. And I think, one of the great things about working closely with, I guess, your life partner or someone who understands who you are innately or where you've been or whatever, the craziest thing you say sometimes doesn't necessarily surprise them. It's almost like, oh yeah, that again, or I guess that was coming, or whatever. Like it's there's a freedom within the space to be a little bit over the top sometimes, and I think that's quite a good creative space to be in. And I guess, I think it's open for reevaluation at the moment, who we are, and certainly I'd like the opportunity to sit down at some point in the near future and sort of be away from what we do day to day to actually go, all right, where's this thing going? Because it's not forever. I think people sort of see who you are and what you do and think that's you forever and ever. And look, it's pretty taxing what we do.
For sure.
I've got no issues saying that it's not forever, but I certainly want it to be as good as it can be up until the day it's not, And so, look at, I don't think there's a moment where we're not reevaluating internally what we do. Do we put it on paper and see it through? Quite often, I think one thing that we do all year, every year, is like 3, 4, 5 times a year. And I know businesses just sort of do that financially when you're very close to your own business and you go, well, let's redo the budget, let's redo the stuff again. So all the times that we do that, it's a financial point of view, but within doing that, it also goes, you go, well, where's this taking us,
So in that, I gather the importance of creating space to do that, like the space within yourself to step away and go, well, where are we, even mid-year, the space to go and look at who else is doing good stuff. Like, how much of that do you give yourself to really get away or give yourself the mental vacation away to actually come back to it?
Probably not enough. One thing we do shut the business. Like we did from day dot decide that, for us to operate at this level, day in, day out, obviously our daughter's 8 years old now, or 8 in January, and we're quite conscious of being a close family and wanting to give her time and not just always about the restaurant and about us and that type of thing. We close the restaurant, so we close the restaurant for six weeks a year. Yeah, and we do. This January we're doing 3.5 weeks, and we do about 2.5 in winter.
Beautiful.
And it's. I guess people from the outside maybe, and they say to us like, oh yeah, I guess, why are you closing over summer? It's a busy time, and winter, is that your quiet time? And for us, the middle of winter or the middle of summer is exactly the same. There's no up and down really. It's just how it is. And in a 40-seat restaurant that only does 6 services a week,
it's busy every day.
It's busy, and a busy time doesn't help you because it's just more people waiting. I think there's some weeks when we have bloody 60 on a wait list, 60 tables on a wait list on a Saturday night. It's just ridiculous. So, just closing and getting away, and actually just having a proper family holiday without the expectation to go to restaurants to see what people's doing is really important. I sort of tend to do that through work during the year anyway. And sometimes it might be a whole year before we do something and then go away for